Have you ever noticed how two people can forgive the exact same betrayal, yet one sleeps peacefully at night, and the other lies awake, replaying every detail like a movie they can't pause? Some people forgive in a heartbeat. They say it's, okay, I'm over it, and somehow, they really are. But others, they forgive with their words, but their mind refuses to let go. Their heart tries to move on, but their memory becomes a vault that never loses the key. And here's the strange part, they're not always the most hurt, they're not always the most sensitive. Sometimes the person who never forgets is the one who looks the strongest, calmest, even coldest on the outside. But inside, they analyze. They replay, they remember, not out of weakness, but out of survival. So what's really going on inside the mind of someone who forgives but never forgets? Is it trauma, logic, self-protection, or maybe something so deeply wired into their psychology that even they don't fully understand it? Before we dive deep, imagine this. Two friends, same betrayal, same apology, same I'm sorry. One says it's okay, don't worry, I'm fine. The other says the exact same words, but something in their eyes gives them away. One forgets. The next week, the other remembers 10 years later. Same event, different minds, different histories, different emotional architecture. People think forgetting is a choice, but in reality, it's a psychological privilege. Some people were raised in safe environments where forgiveness comes naturally. Others grew up learning that forgetting is dangerous, that trusting too quickly gets you hurt, and that's where the difference begins. Now, let's explore the psychology of forgive but never forget, because these people fall into three powerful categories, and the third one, I promise, most people will not want to admit they belong to it. But before we break them down, you need to understand something. When someone forgives but never forgets, it has nothing to do with hatred. It has everything to do with how their nervous system learned to survive emotions. Category 1. The watchful. Realists, these people don't hold grudges. They don't hate you. They don't want revenge. But they learned the hard way that patterns repeat, and humans rarely change overnight. They forgive because they don't like chaos. They dislike conflict. They want peace, but not blindness. They're the type who says, I'm not mad. I'm just watching. They forgive because the situation forces them to, because the relationship still matters, because fighting drains energy, because they want harmony, but forgetting. No, that's a different universe. These people remember details, the tone, the timing, the betrayal, the excuses, not because they're dramatic, but because their mind works like a detective. Pattern recognition is their superpower. If someone lies once, they remember. If someone disrespects them once, they remember. They don't bring it up, they don't shove it in your face. But trust me, it's stored in their mental notebook. Silent, organized, waiting to them. Forgiveness is practical. Forgetting is unsafe. Category 2. The deep feelers who hide their depths. These are the ones who look strong. .com. Emotionally controlled. They'll tell you everything is okay. They'll smile. They'll act normal. But inside, the wound stays open longer than they admit. These people love deeply, so they hurt deeply. And when they forgive someone, it's like stitching a cut. The skin might close, but the scar stays. They never forget because emotions imprint differently on them. They don't just remember what happened, they remember how it felt. They remember the moment their stomach dropped, the moment their heart cracked, the moment the truth stung. And here's the ironic part. They want to forget. They try to. But their memory doesn't work like that. Their heart and mind work together, not separately. These people forgive because they value connection, but forgetting feels like lying to themselves. Category 3. The silent protectors. The one nobody wants to admit now, this category. This is where truth gets uncomfortable. These people don't forget because deep inside, they no longer trust the world the way they used to. They don't forget because life has taught them that the moment you lower your guard, someone can hurt you again. They've experienced betrayal not once, but many times. And their mind learned to store pain. As a warning system, it's not confidence, it's not being strong, it's not holding a grudge. It's fear disguised as logic. These people forgive because they don't want to lose people. They forgive because being alone scares them more than being hurt. They forgive because it's easier to pretend everything is okay than to face the pain of confrontation, but forgetting? No. The brain simply refuses. because forgetting feels like leaving the door unlocked. In the end, people who forgive but never forget are not cold. They're not dramatic. They're not weak. They're not holding on to the past. They're human beings shaped by their history. Some remember to protect themselves. Some remember because their heart holds on to emotional moments. Some remember because pain became part of their survival system. And here's the real question. The one most people avoid: if the people you forgave hurt you again tomorrow, would you really be surprised? Be honest, because your answer will tell you everything about who you are in this story. Think about the last time someone hurt you. Not just a small argument. I mean the kind of hurt that changes the way you breathe for a moment. It's the kind that makes your stomach tighten. The kind that forces you to sit back and ask, why would they do that? People who forgive but never forget store moments like these differently. And here's the interesting thing most people don't realize. The human brain is not designed to forget pain. It's designed to remember it. Touch a hot stove once. You remember forever. Get betrayed once. Your mind treats it the same way. Pain becomes a lesson. Hurt becomes a warning. Memory becomes a survival tool. But people who forgive easily, they remember the lesson, but release the emotion. People who forgive, but never forget. They remember everything. The lesson, the emotion, the tension, the fear, the disappointment, the tone, the exact moment trust broke. Because to them, forgetting is not just hard. It feels irresponsible. Why their memory works like a camera most. People process experiences like short stories, simple, general, but people who never forget replay experiences like films, scene by scene, angle by angle, emotion by emotion. Their memory stores things in high definition. Not because they're sensitive, but because their brain has trained itself to analyze details. These are the people who pick up on the shift in someone's voice, pause before they lead message left unseen, the sigh hidden between words, facial expression. They weren't meant to notice. Their brain does not just remember what happened, it remembers what it meant. And that's the difference. They don't forget because they don't want the same pain twice. Here's a truth. People rarely admit the reason they never forget is not because they hold grudges. It's because they hold patterns. If someone betrayed you once, it's not just the event that stays in your mind, it's the pattern behind it. Was it selfishness? Was it carelessness? Was it disregard for your feelings? Was it disrespect? Was it impulsiveness? Was it a lack of loyalty? People who forgive but never forget are constantly reading patterns. They don't fear the person. They fear the behavior repeating. Their memory becomes a shield. Their forgiveness becomes a doorway. But forgetting, that's the one thing that keeps them safe. They forgive with logic, not emotion. Most people forgive emotionally. I miss them. I want peace. Let's fix this. But the people we're talking about forgive logically. They look at the situation like a puzzle. Is this worth losing the relationship? Is this argument worth the headache? Is the fight more expensive than the forgiveness? Is walking away the smarter move? They forgive because it makes sense, because peace maintains stability, because letting go of anger feels cleaner than holding it. But forgetting, it feels irrational. These people use forgiveness as strategy, not as blindness. They move forward, but they never walk with their eyes closed again. Trust, to them, is not a gift. It's an investment for most people. Trust is the default. I'll trust you unless you give me a reason not to. For those who forgive and never forget, trust works the opposite way. I won't trust you until you give me reasons to. Their trust is built slowly, quietly, and cautiously. When someone breaks it, even once, it's like dropping a glass. You can glue it together. You can polish the pieces. You can pretend it's new. But the cracks will always be there, and they'll always notice them. Not because they want to, but because their mind won't. Allow them to forget where the cracks came from. The emotional science behind it, there's a psychological truth here most people ignore. The deeper a person feels an emotion, the stronger the memory becomes. People who forgive but never forget have emotional systems that imprint memories with greater intensity. Their brain holds on to moments that shaped them, especially moments that broke them. This is why they replay conversations she analyze. Words they study, facial expression she overthink, reaction she compare what people say to what they did. It's not obsession. It's emotional intelligence mixed with caution. If you ever meet someone who forgives you but becomes quieter, more observant, more distant, that's a person who will never forget what happened. Not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. They're not cold, they're self-disciplined, Pell. Think these individuals are heartless, unemotional, harsh too, serious. But that's completely wrong. They're not cold, they're controlled. They're not heartless, they're defensive. They're not harsh, they're protecting their peace, their ability to forgive quickly and forget. Slowly is proof of emotional maturity. They want peace. But they also want truth. They want connection, but not at the cost of betrayal. They want closeness, but not at the cost of repeating wounds. These people live by one unspoken rule. I won't punish you for what you did, but I also won't give you the same chance to hurt me twice. Why people misunderstand them? Most people mistake silence for resentment, distance for anger, memory for grudges. But if you look deeper, you'll see something else. They still show up. They still care. They still try. They still love. They still help. They still forgive. They just don't forget, because forgetting, self-betrayal. They believe in peace, not blindness. They believe in second chances, not second wounds. They believe in forgiveness, not amnesia, and honestly, they're right, because remembering keeps them safe, and forgiving keeps them human. If you've ever wondered why some people can smile at you after you've hurt them, yet something in their eyes has changed forever, this part is for you, because people who forgive but never forget carry a secret inside them. A secret most will never admit out loud. They are soft-hearted, but they have learned the cost of softness. These are the people who once trusted too fast, loved too deeply, gave too freely, believed too openly, and at some point in their life, that softness got them hurt so badly that the wound didn't just heal, it changed the way. They protect themselves. They aren't born cautious. Life made them cautious, and that's where their psychology gets truly fascinating. They don't forget because pain was their teacher when someone hurts you deeply. Your brain stores that memory in a different place, the emotional memory center. This is where the don't do that again lessons live. For most people, a painful memory fades. But for these people, the memory stays sharp. Why? Because they replayed it in their mind too many times. They analyzed it. They asked themselves, how did I miss the signs? Why didn't I listen to my gut? How did I trust them so easily? They aren't holding on to anger. They're holding on to awareness. Their memories are not punishments. They're protection. Every time life betrayed them, they took notes. They remember details because they don't want to repeat the same mistakes some people learned the first time. Some people learn the fifth time. But people who forgive and don't forget, they became who they are because learning the hard way left marks. They remember the tone someone you said, the hesitation before the leave half-truth, hidden in a smile sudden, change in behavior, the apology that didn't feel sincere, the promise that was broken quietly to others. These details seem insignificant, but to them, those small moments were the hints they ignored last time. So now they pay attention, not because they're paranoid, but because their heart refuses to take the same risk twice. They forgive fast because they hate emotional chaos. Here's something most people never understand. People who never forget are usually the quickest to forgive. Why? Because they hate Dramashutin, Joman instability, arguments carrying, heavy feelings relationships that drain them. They want peace. Even if they have to create it themselves, forgiving gives them emotional space. Forgetting would require emotional blindness. So they pick the path that lets them stay calm, but aware. This is why, after forgiving someone, they can sit across from them, laughing and smiling, but a part of them watching silently, not judging, not punishing, just observing. They test. People without letting anyone know, most people don't realize this. But people who forgive and never forget do something extremely intelligent. They run silent tests. After someone hurts them, they don't ask, "Are you still the same?" They watch, "How does this person behave now that they think everything's fine? Do they repeat the same mistake? Do they slip back into old patterns? Do they feel guilty? Or do they act like nothing happened? Do they treat me differently now? They become quietly analytical. It's not revenge, it's evaluation. Because trust, after it's broken, is like a bank account. You don't refill it with one apology. You refill it with consistent actions. And these people take note of every deposit, every withdrawal. There. Forgiveness is not a gift, it's a boundary when they forgive. It doesn't mean I forget everything. I trust you again? You're free to hurt me again? It means we're okay, but the boundary has changed. I'll allow you near, but not as close. You get access, but not full access. I'll talk to you, but you won't know everything anymore. You're in my life, but not in my heart the same way. Forgiveness opens the door, but trust dictates how far you can walk inside. Most people misunderstand this shift. They think the relationship is back to normal. But to someone who remembers everything, nothing is ever the same again. Not worse, not angry, just different. They build emotional walls. But they leave the door unlocked. This is the most beautiful, yet heartbreaking thing about them. They don't shut people out completely. They just build walls with doors. Doors only consistent loyalty can open again. The wall protects them. The door gives others a chance. The lock tests. Intentions. People who forget instantly often remove the wall entirely. People who hold grudges lock the door forever. But people who forgive and never forget. They stand in the middle, the healthiest position of all. The hidden strength they don't show the world. Most people see them as quite disconcerting to read, but inside. They are some of the strongest people you will ever meet, because it takes strength to forgive what broke you, smile at someone who hurts, who stay calm when you remember everything, growing kind after being disappointed of. Forward while carrying the lesson, love without forgetting, protect your heart without turning cold. They mastered the rare balance of being soft but not weak, smart but not cynical, open but not blind. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level. They don't talk. It's about everything they remember. If you ever heard a person like this, here's a secret. They will only confront you about 10% of what they noticed. The remaining 90% stays inside their mind. They don't bring it up because they don't want drama. They don't want long arguments. They don't want emotional chaos. They don't want to repeat the fight. They want peace, not proof. They want observation, not confrontation. But make no mistake, they remember not because they want leverage over you, because remembering helps them decide how to treat you in the future. Forgiving without forgetting is self-respect. They aren't doing it to be difficult. They aren't holding the past over your head. They aren't being dramatic. They're simply telling themselves, I matter. My feelings matter. My experience matters. And honestly, that's a level of self-respect many people struggle to reach, because forgiveness is an act of kindness, but remembering is an act of wisdom.